All right, hello and welcome to our team call on this fine Wednesday evening as we're coming to the end of April here. We're gearing up for a new month in May, and I thought it would just be perfect time to kind of give our mindset a little bit of a reboot. It's really what I've been focusing on throughout all of this because a lot's happened, as we know. So mindset is our biggest tool right now, and really doing whatever we can to keep that positive mindset. So one thing that I have learned and have created is an upward spiral guide. I've talked about it, so I'm going to share with you guys how to create your own and just go a little bit of an explanation of it. And then, yeah, so we'll get started. I'm going to do a screen share here because okay, can you see that? Thumbs up? Cool. All right, so got a little presentation I put together here. So mindset is everything. We're going to talk about creating that upward spiral guide. So just a little bit of diving into the mindset portion first. We'll get into the upward spiral guide after, near the end, but just an overview of like how businesses work. So businesses solve problems. That's your main job as a business owner, is to solve problems constantly. You'll never be done solving problems. There's always going to be something, either a problem in like your personal business that you're solving, or mainly what it is solving your customers problems. So we do that by developing services for specific people to solve specific programs, right? Or for specific problems. You knew what I was saying. So most businesses fail because they aren't solving a real problem. You're creating something that like it's something that you think is a problem, but it might not be a problem for your ideal client. And that's where you get that really big disconnect in your messaging, in your coaching, in your posting, because you're thinking about like, and this has been a mindset switch I've had to make, because I was like, okay, what would I need help with, and like your ideal client isn't always you. And that was something that I used to attach, like, oh, my ideal client is who I used to be. But I don't feel like it is, but at the same time, it's not, like you can't just go off of what you think is a problem that someone needs solving. Like you need to actually figure out what your people need help solving. So I've been doing a lot of like market research recently, and like I got on that call with Catherine and with Allison, like to ask like what are your problems. Then I was like, oh, okay. So it kind of was, I was getting to it, like with what I was thinking before, but I really have been able to niche down and really hone in on it a little bit more. And this last line here is really huge, is getting into something that your potential client would actually say is their problem. So it's the same thing as when like with posting on social media, it's like, what do I feel like saying today? No, that's the thought, that's the thinking process that we want to get away from. It's what does my ideal client need to hear today? So really getting into their language and solving their specific problems so that people will look at you and go like, because you guys, like, there's hundreds of thousands of Beachbody coaches. So we talk about this all the time. Like you really need to individualize yourself, because we all sell the same products, we all sell the same programs, but it's figuring out who you personally help and the problems that you personally can solve. Because not every coach is dealing with binge eating and self-sabotage. Not every coach is focusing on mindset around nutrition. Like not every single coach is talking about it, like is talking about the same things that I talk about, or the skills that I have. So that's what you kind of have to find, is your niche, and really individualizing yourself and getting to know what your ideal client, like their actual language, instead of saying like, I want to help women be like, I want to help women unleash their inner badass and be confident and free. Like that's what I used to say. But nobody actually uses that in their language. Like I don't say that on a daily basis, that I want to unleash my inner badass. Like I don't say that. What I want to say is I want to stop binge eating and I want to stop self-sabotaging myself, because I really hate the way I feel. That's the actual language that you need to get down to, and really start having that kind of mindset. So that brings us into income mindset versus a business mindset. So having an income mindset is if you're focusing just on yourself and personal gain more than focusing on the benefit of your clients. And business mindset is focusing on serving and doing what's best for your clients first, then personally benefiting as a byproduct. And this is something that, like, when I first heard this, I was like, oh, like, I kind of felt shitty because I was like, I'm kind of in an income mindset. And if this is you, like when you're reading this and you're like, oh shoot, like I've been chasing the money, it's normal, like most people are, and you're not wrong, but it's time to make that switch, right? So starting to focus on, like, if you focus on serving the people first, you will get success. You will earn an income, like you will grow your business if you focus on serving your clients first. So this is just like a really big mindset shift that like kicked me in the ass. And I was like, oh my God, girl, no wonder like this has been so hard for you because you've only been focusing on making money, and that's because like I was living in that scarcity mindset, like of, this year was very hard for me with the moves, with the job changes and all that stuff. Like I had a lot of financial stresses that made me so like needy for money and needy for sales, and people felt that. So it was no wonder that I only hit Success Club in 2019 6 months out of the entire 12. Like it's no wonder that happened because people can feel that, right? And now that I'm not so like focused on like I need it, I need the money, like where's my next paycheck, I've consistently hit Success Club since December. And I've hit Success Club 10 most of those months too. So things change for you when you change and you change your mindset around it. So that's why like mindset is so, so huge. So focus on the clients, solve their problem. Like this is your new formula. Focus on the clients, solve their problems and make them happy. That will equal success and growth 100%. So now we're going to get into vision mapping. So this is something to ask yourself is how will I know when I'm successful? Like, what does that mean to you? And for me, I have a little typo there. Whatever. For me, my idea of it was when I have a team that is thriving, clients are seeing success, coaches are building their own badass teams up. That's how I will know when I'm successful. And when I no longer have to stress about where my next client is coming from or what my next paycheck will be. That's my vision of what, like, I will know that I'm successful when all of those things that have happened. And what I did here, and this didn't even happen on purpose, but I noticed just now is I put my team and my clients first. And that was, I just kind of call myself out. I'm like, oh, you made the switch, girl. You did it, having the vision of what you can do for other people first will inevitably lead to you achieving your vision of success. So that's something that I want you to think of for yourself, because we're going to get into vision mapping here and what you want to achieve for yourself. So we come to a kind of a fork in our life here where you have your highest self and your lowest self. And we're going to focus on becoming your highest self. So this is a mindset, like an old way of thinking of like do, have, be. So for example, if you do coaching, you will have the money, like it will give you and you will have money, and then you can be happy. Like that's kind of the old mindset that I've caught myself, but that's the income mindset. I do this, it will give me this, and I can finally be this, right? So the new way of thinking is we want to switch it. So you want to already be your highest self, who is abundant, who is certain, who is already happy and free. And then you will be able to do the connections, support your clients, mentor your coaches in order to have more abundance, more certainty, and feel and have more free and happiness, right? So it's creating that mindset of like, this is where I have to be in order to get that. So you have to already be abundant and be having those feelings of being in your highest self to have the good conversations and the good flow of energy and everything. So this is kind of just a visual representation of what that old mindset, the income mindset looked like, and now the business like highest self mindset looks like. So daily decision from here on out is you're either every day choosing to decide to play the victim, or you're choosing to level up and become a leader. So that's what it comes down to. And I said this in my challenge group today. Every day is a new day to be like, to crush it, but just as easily as every day is a new day to fuck up. So every day, like, you have both sides of the coin. It's just what you're choosing to do with it. So choose to play the victim. Woe is me, this is hard, people aren't signing up with me, people aren't responding, like I'm getting so many no's. this isn't for me, like I'm not doing well. Or you can choose to say that like everything is happening for a reason. This is happening for me. And these people, like, you get what you, what is it, you don't always get what you need, you get what you deserve, right? Or you don't always get what you want, you get what you need. So if people are saying no to you, like, it could be that those were like, it was a blessing, you know, like maybe you didn't want that client. And like that's the kind of mindset that you need to have, instead of being so attached to like, oh no, they said no to me, it means I'm a bad coach. Like maybe like instead thinking maybe there's a reason this happened, you know, like maybe they weren't my ideal client, or this person said no, but it's opening up more doors for me to help more people who are my ideal clients. So those are just some mindset switches to start making for yourself. And questions to ask yourself is, what would your highest self, uh, what would your highest self, whatever, ask your, what, I don't know what I tried to say there, but see, I tried, right? Like not perfect, but what would you ask your, that's what I meant to say. What would you ask your highest self in this moment? There you go. That's what I meant. So what else could this mean? Like, so this is like when bad things start to happen, or you feel yourself kind of like reverting to those old habits. Like, what else could this mean? What is life teaching me right now? When I look back on this moment, what is the story I want to tell? What beliefs do I need to have to overcome this? Or who do I need to be in order to make the most out of this situation? So you can apply this to like any moment of your life, especially right now. Like you could have the mindset of like, nobody's going to want to invest right now. Nobody has the money. People are stressed out. Nobody wants to do this. I feel slimy for even asking, like that. That's a lowest self mindset. Or ask yourself these questions, or what could this mean? What can I learn? What is this life teaching me right now? Like ask yourself these questions. What is the story I want to tell myself? What's the beliefs? Like, what are the beliefs? That's the biggest one, is beliefs. And we're going to jump into that next, because it's the stories that we're telling ourselves, because it's just not true. Because anyone who's saying that nobody is purchasing right now, I know wholeheartedly that's a lie, because I have helped. I've hit Success Club 10 this month. Allison has hit Success Club 14. I'm a part of a coaching community of people who are selling their services for $1,000 to $2,000 per person right now. So it's just not true. That's a story that some people are choosing to tell themselves. Like it's just not true. People have the money to invest. And I've seen it too, of people who are buying, like people are still eating out right now. Like people are still spending their money on stupid shit. Like I see people like buying clothes right now, and I'm just like, but really? Okay, I guess so. Sure. Whatever. Let people do whatever they want with their money, but it's a story that you're telling yourself that they don't have the money, because they do, right? We all got a lot of us, most of us got our government, like, you know, money from the government. So people have money right now, right? It's just a mindset thing. So when you're having an identity crisis, so we're going to get into that as well. Or like when you're fighting yourself between like your highest self, your lowest self, and you're just like, I don't know who I am, who I want to be, and like kind of what the story, I don't know what story is true, kind of thing. So remember these, like who you are is a learned behavior. You learned that based off of a story that you were told when you were younger, maybe just something that like the way that your parents do things, and they told you that this is the way it is. Like I know for me, a huge belief was like around money, was like the kind of the scarcity of like just never having enough, or it doesn't come easily. Like that was a story that I told myself, that it was hard to make money, and I had to like work, like, you know, like work so many jobs in order to make money, because my parents would always say like, money doesn't grow on trees, you know, or like we don't have the money for that. Or like I saw my parents working multiple jobs, so like that was my association with it. Or like it could be with anything. Like if a teacher told you you did something wrong and like really made fun of you in front of the whole class, you would carry that story with you for the rest of your life, that around whatever this thing was, that like you would be afraid to do stuff in front of people because you'd be scared that you'd get made fun of or put down. Like those are learned behaviors that go so far back, and they are so deep, and it can be unlearned. It just takes acknowledging where it came from, what it is, and rewiring your brain. So you can learn to be a different way. And in order to understand how to change your identity, we have to understand how we view the world. And that brings us into the feedback loop. So this is really, really cool, the way it works. And it's so true. Like your brain is a computer, essentially. So information comes in, an external event happens, you distort, delete, generalize, like your computer starts working, right? And you start to figure out a meaning or an attachment to that event, and it changes your mental state, which changes your physiological state, which changes your behavior. And this happens with any external event, whether it is positive or negative. This is always happening in our brains, and this is kind of like a breakdown of just saying the stories that we tell ourselves. Like this is how you create the story that you tell yourself. So we can either go into a downward spiral or an upward spiral with this. So we're going to go into the downward spiral first. So we distort, delete, generalize based off of memories, discussions, programmings, values, beliefs, and attitudes we have experienced in the past or have been told by others. So that's exactly what I was just saying there. Like if your teacher says something, you know, makes fun of you, um, if your sister calls you fat, like it just is constantly calling you fat, 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 like and that's what you hear your entire life growing up, you're going to have a fear. You're probably going to be overweight. And then even if you do lose the weight, you're going to be so afraid of gaining weight, or you're going to have like body dysmorphia where even though you aren't fat, you still feel it. You still feel like you look like it. Like that's a story that has been programmed into your brain based off something that happened to you. And it can be changed. You know, you just have to put a different meaning attached to it. So here's an example of an external event in a downward spiral loop. So for the example of the external event, a client doesn't respond to your email. So the meaning that you start to put into your brain is, they don't want to work with me, this isn't working, I suck. You know, like that's what we immediately start thinking, is a negative reaction of like, oh no, they hate me. And your mental state starts to change. So you start to feel hurt, you start to feel upset, you start to feel scared or embarrassed. And then what happens to your body? Well, you start to kind of hunch over, or like, you know, rounded shoulders. You start to feel that, like whatever you're feeling in your mental state, your body starts to feel it too. And then your behavior changes. So what do? You stop sending follow-up emails, you stop reaching out to more clients because you feel embarrassed, you feel like, oh, this isn't working. Like that's the story that you have decided to tell yourself. So instead, when we create the upward spiral, take the exact same situation. So a client doesn't respond to your email. The meaning in your head, you start to have that more positive thought of, ooh, they must be scared. You know, like I'm going to help them. They need me more than ever because they are so scared they can't even respond back to me. Like they're so unsure of themselves. They have so much fear around this. Like, and you start thinking more positively, like there's something wrong with them and they need you. Like instead of thinking like, oh, they hate me, it's like, no, this person needs me more than ever, right? So then you start to feel that mental state is empowered, heroic, right? You start to be like, this person needs me, like I'm gonna help them. And your physiology, like even when I just said that, and I just said that, I acted differently, right? Like your physiology starts to open, you start to get a tall posture, you get excited, right, to respond back to this person, or follow up with them. And your behavior is you feel more enthusiastic, and that comes off in the conversation, that you are just genuinely happy and excited to help this person, because like, okay, if they're not answering you, there's something wrong. You're worried about them and you want to get down to the reason why, so you can figure out how to help them because they need you more than ever. And that is going to feel way different than the downward spiral, and that's going to come off in your communication. So it's this whole thing is, it's continually reconditioning your mind to look for evidence that your new reality is here and now. And it's that constant, you just have to, anytime you feel yourself falling into that, like, you know, that low vibe, like your lowest self, that downward spiral, just realize that like this is just a story I'm telling myself, you know, like this isn't the truth. And so when you're reconditioning your mind and your identity, it's time for a software update, basically. Like if your brain is a computer, it's time to update it and leave that shit behind and level up here. So we don't believe in reality. We believe in our version of reality, because if you like, and I say this all the time when I'm teaching classes, like nobody, we don't believe in ourselves as much as like other people believe in us. Nobody is saying that you're weak. Nobody is saying that you can't do this. Nobody believes that you can't finish or something, or no one is telling you to give up. We're the ones that are telling ourselves that. So it's not a reality for, like, it's not real, like it's a story that we're telling ourselves, and it's our version of reality, but it's not actually the truth. And no one else believes that. Other people look at, like, if we could just steal other people's beliefs in ourselves for a little bit, I think it would change everybody's freaking life. So design a new character that is fit to rule your new reality. And that's what we're going to do with the upward spiral here. And read it every day. Like I was, when I first created it, I fought it. I don't know why. It was a story I was telling myself that it would just take too much time to do it. I don't have time in my morning routine, but I'm like, bro, you have nothing but fucking time right now. So just read it. So I've been reading it every day for 2 weeks, and it just starts my day off feeling amazing. I put on some like pump up tunes, which I'll play you through it, like as I kind of go through it. So you can just like feel the vibe of like what I'm feeling as I'm going. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but so yeah. So now what I want you to do first, so we're going to go over vision mapping first. So what you want to do is answer through these questions here. So give yourself, it doesn't have to take forever. It says 10 minutes here, and like set a timer for 10 minutes and just start going. It might not even take you a whole 10 minutes. I don't think it took me a whole 10 minutes. But yeah, so your goal wish list. So imagine you could wave a magic wand and have anything you want in these categories. Nothing is off limits. If you catch yourself having the slightest impulse, write it down. So don't let your pen leave the paper for the next like 10 minutes, however long you do it. And don't like second guess yourself of like, oh, this is impossible. No, fucking write it down. Like, it's your goal. It's what you want. Write it down. So things for business and career goals, like what do you want to create and contribute? Health and fitness goals. How do you want to feel and look? Lifestyle and relationship goals. What kind of lifestyle and relationship do you want? Persona and behavioral goals. What do you want to be known for? What is your ultimate character? So there's space there. This is just on what I got here. I don't have my actual copy of it. But yeah, I just wrote down everything there. Like I didn't, no rhyme or reason, just started writing things down. And then you start to organize your thoughts a little bit here. So in the next 5 minutes, you're going to read through what you just wrote and circle 5 items from each category that are the most scary and exciting. So if it's just scary, it's probably not something you actually want. If it's just exciting, it's still probably inside your comfort zone. So you want it to be scary and exciting. They're things that pull your heart and push you to your edges. If you could have, be, do, give, experience these things, you'd be giddy, ecstatic, and jazzed as hell. Let your gut instincts guide you, and write them below. So this is where you just picked 5 of those things from each of them. So your business and career goals, like what do you want to create and contribute? How do you want to feel and look? Same kind of thing, but you just get 5 of each of them. So, and then you identify your top 10 character traits that you need to embody in order to achieve those goals. So if your scary and exciting goal is to build $1 million a year business, hike Everest, and learn to hip hop dance, then your character traits in order to do that would have to be determined, unstoppable, focused, consistent, playful, and open. So things like that. Really think about your current weaknesses and what character traits would allow you to ascend beyond your current lower self. So 10 of those. And then you're going to identify 10 beliefs you need to have in order to achieve these goals. So these are like affirmations. So if your goal is to build that $10 million a year business, hike Everest, learn to hip hop dance, you'd have to be determined, unstoppable, focused, consistent, playful, open. And your belief would have to be that money flows to me easily and effortlessly. My body is capable of anything I tell it to do. I'm an incredibly fast learner. My life flows and everything happens for my highest good always. So that's just like a positive affirmation that would encompass all of that. And I'll show you the examples when we get to my upward spiral guide. Observe any reactions of denial and skepticism. Remember, you are reprogramming your internal representation systems here. It will feel unfamiliar and perhaps inauthentic, but that's the point, because the person you want to become, like, you're not her yet. So by writing this down, reading this every day, you are programming your mind to become her. And that's what we want. All right, so there's that. So I'm going to put on my Chill Vibes playlist here, and we'll go through my upward spiral guide. That's probably going to do a yeah, so I just got some like vibe music, so there's no words to it, and I find myself like grooving around with Homer too, you know. So got my upward spiral guide here, and she just writes down like a couple things to do, like slow down, take 3 deep breaths. So usually I do it like after I meditate, I do my card pulls, I sit down with my tea, I put on the tunes with my headphones, and I just take a couple deep breaths, dive into it. And then once you're done, take 3 more breaths. And you really want to like visualize this as you're going through it, and visualize yourself being this person. So my character traits here are unstoppable, consistent, resilient, determined, playful, engaged, committed, awake, pumped the fuck up, and caring. And then I just wrote down next to it, like, what does that mean to me? So for me to be unstoppable, Francesca doesn't let anything get in her way when she's pursuing what she wants. And consistent is she shows up for herself every day, no matter how small. So whatever those words are, like writing down what they feel like to you, like what you need to do in order to embody those character traits. So to be pumped the fuck up, like to be a badass who is excited about life and brings amazing energy into everything that I do. And I'll share this in the group so you guys can see mine and kind of go off of it. So these are those beliefs now, like the positive affirmations. So I am enough, I am smart, helpful, and worthy of taking up anybody's time. Knowing I am good enough makes me feel comfortable, confident, and authentic. I am a gift. Everything I do comes from an endless well of generosity, creativity, imagination, and so on and so on. Like success comes to me easily. My life is filled with harmony and happiness. I'm incredibly disciplined and focused. Like anything that you feel. So that you're basically just taking what you did in that vision mapping and just pasting it here, right? So this is when you put everything together to make it look a little bit neater. So then I find this to be really huge too, is picking role models who embody these character traits. So I took these character traits and I thought of the people who, you know, embody, and I think I went over this on an earlier team call, but so I've got like, you know, Danielle and Tony is committed and consistent, like as fuck, like breaking down all these people, like Shalene Johnson, Rachel Bell, you know, like all of these people who just really embody who I want to be. And then when I think of those words, I think of them and I'm like, okay, this is how, and then I think of myself being that as well. Like it just gives you that visual representation of it, so you can see like who you need to become in order to embody those. So this is another thing that I really want to recommend you guys do as well, is creating your manifesto here. So what I did is I kind of went through my goals and I just wrote it out into like full, like my manifesto, you know, like this is what if someone were to read what my life has become, this is it, you know? So I wrote down like what I want to do in the health and wellness space. And then I wrote down like what I want to do with the Beachbody space. I wrote down what I want to do for my life and relationship, for just like me as a person and my friendships. And yeah, a little bit more, but just like who I am as a person. I'm happy with, I'm loved. I love with my whole heart. I genuinely want to see others succeed and lead with passion and love. Yeah. So, and put it in third person, because this is somebody reading about you. So again, I'll post this and you can kind of use it as guideline. It doesn't have to be this big. It could be bigger. It's whatever you want, because you are going to be reading this every single day. And this is where the real like visualization comes in, because I start reading this stuff and I visualize it, like what this future for me is going to look like. So, and then again, this is where you take like your vision mapping and just copy and paste it here. So business and career goals, I wrote them down here. So I want to help thousands of women, the desire to start a community meetups and workouts, to become a known wellness figure in my community. earn six figures a year and become a millionaire before I'm 40. So those are big, scary goals for me, you know, like it's scary and exciting because it's way out of my comfort zone. But I'm excited about it because it's like this is it's possible. I know it's fucking possible. So and then do the same for health and fitness, for lifestyle and relationship, persona and behavioral goals, and then create a little vision board. So I kind of put together just a quick little vision board um, based off of what I said above. So like I want to have a big team, you know, like I'm going to summit together and going to events, and this is just like how I want to feel. My transformation there, that's my favorite transformation. Our team logo, places I want to live or explore, and then just me and Mikey to keep doing these things together. So, and then just got those chill vibes going. So find your favorite playlist. And I find that, I'll stop the share here. I found one that didn't have like a lot. There's only a couple words in that one because it was a little too distracting to read all that stuff. But yeah, like I'm going to post that in the group, and I highly suggest doing it because it starts your day off such in a great way. And if you aren't thinking of the person you want to become, you're not going to be doing the things to get yourself to become that person, right? Because we all have the potential to do it. It's again like it's that choice every day. You can decide to like go into that low level, play the victim. This isn't working for me. Maybe I'm not meant to do this. Or you can decide to say, no, girl, shut up. Like we're doing this. You rock. Let's go. Let's level up. Right? All right, cool. So that's all I got for you today, focusing on mindset. Every week I'm going to come in and share just little bits of what I'm learning through OCA. Not everything is going to apply because again, this is teaching you how to like create your own kind of program, but a lot of them are still, you know, it still applies to what we're doing because I think there was one thing that she said too, like when she's talking through the sales module is the reason why a lot of people have an issue with sales is because they're not connected to their offer. So what I have to say to that is create your own offer within Beachbody. You know, like, yes, we're all using the same products and programs, but if you really connect it to something that you are doing for people, right? Like, you don't have to create a whole separate offer like I am, but if you like tailor it that way and present it that way, that you do something different. And if you're afraid of price objection, that could be because like you don't see the value in it or in yourself, so make it more valuable, you know, like create something that is more you, something that you offer that you go like, you know, that you put work and effort into it, so you're not going to be afraid of talking about the price anymore because you're like, no, I worked my ass off for this. I know this is worth this price, right? So create systems, create things. Like, again, this might not be for the brand new coach, but for where we're getting at now, like a couple years in or something, like it's time to level up. So start individualizing yourself and like making more for the people that you're trying to attract so that you will feel more connected to the offer. You will feel more valuable in yourself as a coach, and you will feel more valuable with the price as well. So you won't be afraid of talking about it anymore. You won't be afraid of presenting, you know, a higher package option instead of just saying like, oh, okay, I'll just give you Beachbody on demand, or oh no, you don't want the deluxe pack, that's fine, you don't need it, here, just buy one, for God's sake, just buy one, you know, because that's the kind of energy that we can give off sometimes. Like, I know I've done it when I felt really desperate coming to the end of the month, and even though the person like said that what they wanted was the deluxe pack, you know, like, oh, that would be really great to have that, but then all of a sudden a price objection comes on and I'm like, oh, that's fine, you don't need it, just get the basic one then. And I immediately like backtracked because I was afraid, you know, but really like if you just stood in that confidence and explained the value of it and said like, hey, if you want this, like get it then, you know, like you need this. You said you wanted this is why. Like step into the power and step into the, like when you know the value, you'll be able to step into it a little bit better and feel more connected. But yeah, that was just a little tangent on the end there. So yeah, okay, that's all I got for you today. Any questions or anything before we jump off?
I think it's like, let's see. I wrote a lot of stuff down. I really thought that it was the income mindset versus business mindset. That was really interesting, because I know, like for me, like coming in for this, I started it for me. So sometimes like my default can be to like go back. Well, what do I need? Well, it's not about me. How it's about me is how it helped, right? So it's like, now how can this help others, right? So that was really interesting
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I know that was the biggest thing for me too. I was like, oh shit. Like it's like a oh like mic drop moment there, right? And it makes you really think about it because that's what it all comes down to is in the end is we are doing this to help people. So it, we are a byproduct of that, like we get helped, you know, by helping people. We're the byproduct. So if growing a business is something you want to do, it has to be focused on like how can I help people, not how this is going to help me, like because you will get helped no matter what, like you have a coach already, you have a way of someone to help you already, so now it's like, okay, how can I use this to help people, and how can I help people? So we're really going to dive deeper into niching and figuring out your ideal client, because that's something I've been totally diving into lately. And again, like a lot of this stuff is very similar to what I've noticed, like a lot of it is very similar to what we have already been learning, but it's way more zoned in. Like I find with a lot of things you learn from like Beachbody or just anything, it's a wide scope for all coaches and everybody like learning styles. But I've noticed this, yeah, it's very similar, but it's just so much more like tangible, actionable stuff. And that's what I need. I'm the type of person, like, I just need you to tell me what to do. And that's what they're really doing in this course. So it's like so amazing. And I'm just really excited to bring it over to you guys, because I know if it's helped me find so much clarity, like it's going to help you guys find so much clarity too.
Yeah,
For sure.
exactly.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for jumping on. I will see you tomorrow for our workout.
Sounds good.
Super early.
Yep.
Well, not super early, 9:30, not too bad.
Good.
All right, I'll talk to you later, girl.
Have a good night. Bye bye.